At that instant, all the people on the lowest deck drowned. For those of us on the deck above, water came surging up from below. Inside the ship, there were no lights. In the pitch blackness, I thought it was all over.
In a recreation, crewmen shine flashlights around a dark room.
It was a sea of blood then. People with no arms. They were all still breathing. We just had to leave them in a room. Then, in order to prevent water from coming in if we had a leak, we had to shut the doors on them to keep them waterproof. War can be so brutal.
Thousands of men were trapped below deck as the ship's watertight compartments were intentionally sealed shut.
In the books, they make it sound good. They say that some people committed suicide with their own swords. But in reality, it wasn't that dignified.
A portrait of Emperor Hirohito hangs on a wall, its protective glass shattered. Kazuhiro Fukumoto.
We climbed up the starboard side towards the stern and reached a small hatch. The seawater had risen so much, we practically had to swim there. The commanding officer pulled us up. We were saved.
No amount of damage control could prevent the Yamato's flooding.
The ship started to lean to the side.
A sake bottle rolls across the floor.
There were 3 main guns, and the one on the left was completely submerged.
In the confusion, some officers gave orders to abandon ship.
I have no recollection of the instant I jumped in, but there was a huge explosion. I still remember the sound to this day.
In a grainy aerial photograph, a fiery cloud encircles the Yamato.
From 10 miles away, an American torpedo plane photographed the explosion and the last moments of the battleship Yamato. Japan's greatest ship and almost 3,000 of her crew seemed to have committed suicide. In lives lost, the sinking was one of the worst naval disasters in history.
Nebulous smoke rises from the ship. Now a lifeboat floats on calm waters.
But from the moment the Yamato was lost, there has been controversy. Was the mission really suicidal? What caused the ship to explode? How did such a massive vessel sink so quickly?
Now a modern research boat travels the ocean.
200 miles south of Japan, an international crew of divers and naval historians is hoping to unravel the mystery of the Yamato's final mission. At the approximate location of the sinking, a smaller survey team has already charted a field of unidentified debris lying some 1,200 feet down. Now, with more advanced equipment, this expedition is hoping to confirm that the unseen wreck is the remains of the super battleship which has fascinated the people of Japan for decades.
Historian Katsuhiro Hara.
The story of the battleship Yamato continues to fascinate ordinary Japanese who have no personal connection to it. Anyone who studies the Yamato loses themselves in it. They become impassioned.
French dive supervisor Paul Nargeolet will lead the descent onto the wreckage.
Yamato was a very secret ship. The Japanese crew, they want some answers because there is no full map of all the ship. And they were thinking, you know, they heard about some stuff, but they were not really sure. There is no real evidence.
The dive team has brought along 2 of the world's most advanced submersibles. Each of these small submarines can descend as far as 3,000 feet. Their robot claws can recover small objects from the sea floor, and their glass bubbles provide a panoramic view.
Paul and another researcher sit inside the glass bubble, surrounded by monitors and control panels. The size of a snowmobile, the submersible hangs from a cable as a winch slowly lowers it into the water.
Once the submersibles are released from the mothership, they must function on their own.
A diver unhooks the submersible from the winch cable and gives a thumbs up to the researchers inside.
The 1,200-foot descent to the seafloor takes about 15 minutes.
Paul moves a lever to control the submersible.
You know, when you dive for the first time on a wreck, I'm thinking about the people who were on board the ship, what happened to them. It's a strong feeling, very strong.
1,200 feet down, the sonar echoes point to a mass of metal lying on the bottom.
A researcher points to an image on the radar.
The two craft maneuver toward the target.
The submersibles glide just above the ocean floor. Their headlamps illuminate corroded barrels and ammunition.
The sea floor is littered with so many cannon shells, it's certain they've found a warship.
We zoom in on a small greenish artillery shell.
But 60 years ago, these waters were the site of many sinkings. The divers need to confirm that this is really the wreck of the Yamato.
Now, grainy footage shows a massive warship's tapered prow.
Like all great Japanese warships, the battleship Yamato had one distinguishing feature which was visible for miles. The imperial crest, a huge chrysanthemum shield protruded from her bow.
We believe that our ships belong to the emperor. That's why there was the imperial family crest. The chrysanthemum was only placed on the biggest navy ships. Battleships, aircraft carriers, cruisers.
Naval designer Sakutaro Nishihata.
The one on the battleship Yamato was the largest of all, 2 meters in diameter.
The researchers know that if they can find the chrysanthemum, they can identify the Yamato.
A radar screen flashes an image. Inside the second submersible, 2 researchers watch video monitors closely as they inch through the cloudy bluish water. Up ahead, the ship's rusty barnacle-encrusted prow slowly comes into view. The chrysanthemum shield stands out.
Ah! This is a symbol.
Yes, this is the symbol.
Yes.
A subtitle, "We found the crest." Aboard the research boat, team members speak into a radio as they study a monitor. Underwater, the submersible approaches the prow.
Beautiful, huh?
Yes, beautiful.
To be sure they have the right ship, the submarine's robot claw positions a 2-meter-long plastic measuring rod next to the chrysanthemum.
Oh, it's great.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The Emperor's shield is exactly 2 meters in diameter. There is no question. The expedition has found the Yamato, the greatest ship of the Japanese Navy.
A web link appears. Explore the Yamato, pbs.org. Now, fire pours over the Yamato's sprawling deck.
The battleship Yamato was the world's most powerful warship. She was built at a time when battleships were the undisputed symbols of great nations' power. And when the Yamato sank just a few years later, her loss marked the end of the battleship as superweapon. These all-powerful warships had been made obsolete by the changing nature of war at sea.
In footage, battleships fire their long guns, spewing smoke and flame.
The purpose of a battleship is to deliver devastating fire from big guns at a great distance. The range of the guns is crucial. For the surface navy, if your ship can hit an enemy vessel while she is still too far away to fire back, you are effectively invulnerable.
Old footage shows a white-hulled gun-lined battleship.
By 1904, battleships like those of America's Great White Fleet could fire their intimidating 12-inch guns as far as 7 miles. A new age of gunboat diplomacy was born.
Guns line the decks of the white-hulled ship.
The Japanese Navy had been one of the first to understand the strength of the modern battleship. In May 1905, they fought the mighty Russian fleet at the Straits of Tsushima. The Japanese fleet sank 19 Russian ships in a single day.
Historian Malcolm Muir.
The battleship had proved to be the weapon that mattered. Japan won great prestige as a result of the battle at Tsushima Straits.